Hey there guys, welcome to yet another video. I know I've been absent for quite a bit, but we're back. This one matters. And today we're going to test out Microsoft Flight Sim, a flight slash benchmark to check performance figures because we're taking off from a small airport. Can we even call it an airport? Probably not. An airfield, let's call it that. And we're flying all the way to Vancouver, which is near to like what 40 nautical miles, something of that sort. It's a pretty short flight. And we're gonna see how performance scopes up once we get there. Given it has photogrammetry, which is known to hit performance a little bit. So we're sitting at 32 frames per second right now, which is quite acceptable for a flight sim. Pretty okay. As you can tell, no stutters, it just seems to be working fine. See, very nice. Graphics are all maxed out. Let me show you the graphics options before we begin with starting the plane up. So, full screen, Quad HD, VSync is on, even though it's set up. They say it doesn't really work, but let's just leave it on, because it doesn't get anywhere near 60 anyway. It's not like I'm trying to frame cap or anything, because it doesn't get there. I wish. But as you can see, everything is just maxed out of the box. No tweaks, just stock without, any messing around with settings or anything. Just, it's not ideal case scenario, I know, but I want you to know how it runs out of the box without any sort of, interference. Let's call it that. So, it's FS Economy flight, so sorry for that weird tail number that doesn't really follow the North American reg schematics, but it's okay. Let's start this thing up. I mean, not like you need to do a lot. Even it's not study level, so you just, even have to prime. You'll literally just 1/4 of an inch there and turn the keys. Oh, forgot the alt and the battery, of course. And there you go. We have an engine on, then we turn the avionics, and it loads up just like that. So just make sure to set at 1000 RPMs. There you have it. It's not quite. As you can see, the frames are a little bit far from the ideal range at this point because of the screens, because it, extra work, extra load for it to render and stuff. But bear in mind, I'm recording and a very high bit rate, and I'm using the card for that, so it also affects the frames. So we're gonna see a 4 to 5 FPS loss on average. So yeah, let's see. Tower, let's ask for clearance, and I mean there's no clearance, it's a small airfield, so it doesn't really matter. Let's just tune the traffic, say we're about a taxi. There you go. Oh yeah, I forgot.
Bravo Sierra 8 traffic Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha is taxiing to runway 30.
Okay. So, beacon lights, which I forgot. Shouldn't have forgotten that. Nav lights. We're gonna turn this on as well because we're gonna need. Actually, let's turn this off because poor guy. And now we just gotta find out where the heck we're supposed to take off. 12 or oh shit. Why is it not working? Why is it locked? Oh, GPS tracking. No. What? Hello? Why is it not working? Oh, okay. Now it does move. 12:24. Right. Okay. So basically just straight back. Take taxiway, we gotta backtrack and take off. Simple. Really simple. Okay, so parking brake can go. hit Shift B for pushback guide to help us out a little bit. And the frames, gosh, bear in mind we're using real world weather, which does take a hit as well, like quite a big hit actually. But so far not too bad, honestly. All things considered, I mean, that's quad HD, that's ultra settings, and that's a mid-range card, so the fact that it runs to an extent is a pretty good thing already. So sitting at 29, 28, it's playable. Okay, so enough. Oh, you just drew me. It's okay. Right, so we get brakes engaged. Wait for him to do his thing. Thank you, sir. Very helpful. Gotta say. Taxi lights. Now we're gonna announce taxi again. Or take off. Oh. There. Right. So we already announced taxi. Let's just go. Parking brakes. Oh, frames got a little bit better. Let's just some extra power. Come on, airplane. Come on. There you go. It's finally moving. And the frames are as you can see, it's not too bad, honestly. It's really not too bad. It works. And that's good enough for me. It's better than, let's say, Picture Day maxed out with complex airliners. Not, I mean, I know this is not a complex airliner, but you know what I mean. Frame-wise, it's okay. Sorry, if it sits above 24, it's good enough. You can play. Right, we're almost getting there. I feel like runway is long enough. Maybe I really need to backtrack. Just get on the runway. And yeah, honestly, let's go for the memes. So let's just stop this thing. There you go. Let's go to the ATC window and take off. We're gonna depart. I don't really know. Let's just go straight out.
Charlie Bravo Sierra 8 traffic Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha taking off runway 30 straight out departure.
Yeah, I think there's enough runway. So let's just get flaps. Oh crap. Hold up. There you go. Using controller, by the way, it's all fricked up. It's horrible. It's an understatement, actually. It's really bad. Let's go power this thing up. Prop wash, trying to steers far off the runway, but okay, so we're seeing 24 now, the lowest so far. 25. Wait till we get in Vancouver, it's gonna get worse, substantially worse than that. Alright, so there's our first 60 knots. Take off. Oh lord, controller is such a mess. I'm still trying to find the right settings. Straight out departure, then I'm gonna make a right turn, line up, and you know, let the autopilot do its thing. I don't want to bother, honestly. 65. Take off this. We cannot go too high because of the clouds. It's not really the ideal case scenario for VFR, is sure. Right. Hold up. Hold up. Oh, crap. Hold up. Let's get rid of the flaps. This is turning into straight up suicide. Hold up. The frames doesn't start it, at the very least. I mean, it's not like it's dropping from 25 to 10 and then back to 35 and 50, you know. The frames are not all over the place. They're somewhat consistent, although it's not the kind of consistency we're looking for, but it doesn't really stutter, as you can see. Just, you know, it's just the PC actually struggling, the card struggling. You can see it's okay. Now it's the main thread, but sometimes it shows it's the GPU, which is the limiting factor, which seems to be the case. I mean, it's a very demanding game. It's on ultra settings. There's a lot of stuff to render, so it's only natural it would go nuts. And it's visible that it's actually going nuts. Right. As you can see, very, very nice morning out of this little airstrip. Soon enough, we're going to be landing in Vancouver, where the frames are about to get substantially worse. We're going to see the real face of Flight Sim 2020 when it comes to performance. CPU usage seems good enough. It uses all the cores, the physical cores, not all the threads. I have 8 core, 16 thread, and makes use of 8 of my cores. I mean 8 of my threads, which are the physical ones, of course. So I assume it would benefit from SMT. So like getting rid of the multi-threading, just using the cores themselves. I imagine it would benefit from that. I don't see it as a massive gain. Probably not. Like 5-6 frame ballpark probably. Well, when you're struggling to hit 30, that could be, you know, the difference, the key factor that would allow for 30 FPS gaming. Which then again, as mentioned before, and I feel like reinforcing, that's all you need for flight simming. You don't really need 60 at all for flight sim. You know, most people are getting into flight simming now because, you know, flight sim's the new thing and new, you know what I mean. Flick of the wrist, they all want to be pilots now and stuff. I don't expect 60 frames. I mean, I've been flight simming for a while now. I cannot say I'm all a very experienced flight simmer in a sense, but I've been simming for what, 5 to 6 years now, and I tell you, 60 FPS night, it doesn't really happen. Never happen. I mean, maybe with default stuff and with Flight Sim Max, like default aircraft, which are lock anyway, or even PhD for that matter, you could maybe hit 60, but what's the point, you know? Well, when it comes to complex airliners like FS Labs and PMDG, you can kiss your 60 frames goodbye. Concern here is if like small GA aircraft like that struggling to run at 30 in Quad HD, even Full HD for that matter, imagine the complex airliners once they come. That's the big concern. I mean, FSX and PhD would run GA stuff like that just fine. Problem would be the big boy stuff, you know. And now we see a sim actually struggling with GA. So I mean, how demanding the study level stuff is going to be in that regard. That's what's kind of concerning. But then again, it's not like you're supposed to max it out anyway with study level shit, you know. No one plays like PhD maxed out with the labs or PMDG or even Majestic for that matter, because it simply didn't work back in the day. You wouldn't run it no matter what, even if you had like the best PC available. I mean, the best PC available today cannot run P3D maxed out. Even, you know, you could stick like 4 cards, NVLink, and the best CPU available, and all sorts of things, fastest RAM. You wouldn't run it properly. No, not maxed out. That's for sure. So bear in mind, you're gonna have to make compromises once the big boy stuff comes out. If that's even your goal, because most people are just getting into flight sim now and, you know, learning the small planes and stuff, so you know what I mean? It probably doesn't concern 90% of the public, because they won't be flying those anyway. But bear in mind, if you're, you know, a hardcore simmer of sorts, bear in mind that ultra settings with complex stuff ain't gonna happen. Given how it behaves with simple stuff, with, you know, standard default stock aircraft, you see the frames are just hovering around way too much. But, you know, if you just want to fly GA like that and just enjoy the environment, landscape sim of sorts, there you have it. It's fully playable. I mean, it's not like dropping to 24 at times. 25 is going to end your experience, going to render it barely enjoyable now. Definitely not. It's just quite turbulent today. Planes shaking all over. We have about, what, 31 minutes to go. It's going to take a little longer than I expected. It really is going to take a lot longer than I had in mind. So I might as well just... that would take so long to render though. I could split it in 2 parts. I don't know. Confusion. Yeah, I might do that, honestly. Let's just call it as part 1. And I'm gonna record the second take once we're closer, because I don't have enough stuff to talk about in the next 30 minutes as we glide our way towards Vancouver. I definitely don't have that much stuff to talk about, so I'm gonna be around here. But yeah, as you can see, for non-highly populated areas but populated with trees, that performance is quite acceptable for this kind of plane. You know, unless you throw airliners in, kiss the frames goodbye. The 2070 is doing just fine with the 172 and the 152, which performs substantially better, as there's no G1000. So it doesn't have to render 2 screens with a very high refresh rate and stuff. So yeah, but yeah, see you guys in part 2 once we're closer to Vancouver, and we're gonna compare performance, because it's gonna be like departing from an area without a lot of stuff going on, like less dense, less population, not photogrammetry, and then flying straight into an area with photogrammetry and a big airport with bunch of traffic and shit going on. So we're about to see the frames go nuts, or not. Maybe we're gonna get surprised. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Only the future will tell. So stay tuned for the second part of this video. And now I gotta hit the AP so that I can minimize and pause the video recording. Fantastic, right? So yeah, I see you guys in a wee bit.